If that sounds relatable to you, behold. This feeling is called resentment and, you guessed it, it's something mentally strong people don't do. If you feel like other people are more successful than you, you'll likely feel envious about their good fortune. On the outside you might keep a polite smile, but when your neighbor shows you his brand new Tesla, you might secretly despise him. You were just about to enjoy this garden party, but now your mood is ruined. Often, people's resentments are a sign of their own insecurities. And it's particularly easy to resent other people's accomplishments if you don't really know what you want yourself. Let's say you've got a friend who's flying all around the world for important business trips and your first thought is, I wish I could have that lifestyle. But do you? Didn't you wish you had more family time before? Now what is it that you want? A jet-set life or more family time? So what do you do? First of all, you need to gain clarity about what success and accomplishment looks like to you. If your New Year's resolution is to bike more often to work, you'll have a hard time despising your neighbor's new car. You wouldn't even want his car in the first place. Case closed. Another way to get rid of resentful emotions is a change of attitude. Life's not a rat race in which you perpetually have to outperform everybody around you. Instead of competing, think more about collaborating. Yes, you might be secretly angry about your brother's financial success, but why not ask him for some tips and learn from him? It's hard to resent someone who's about to help you out, isn't it? Mentally strong people don't give up easily, and they are self-compassionate about failure. Today, Thomas Edison is world famous for inventing the light bulb. But did you know that he also came up with contraptions like the electric pen or the so-called ghost machine? If you've never heard of these, don't worry, both were complete failures. And they were far from being Edison's only flops, at least, from our perspective. Edison himself didn't consider these attempts to be failures. Instead, he saw them as learning opportunities, chances to experiment with what worked and what didn't. Each time he failed, he considered himself to be one step closer to succeeding. But, yeah, this is not the common perspective on failure. If you drop out of college or lose an important client, your go-to reaction is not, finally, another learning opportunity. The opposite is true. It often comes with a sense of shame, an experience we want to avoid at all costs. As a consequence, some people will stop trying entirely, making it a habit to give up at the faintest sign of hardship. Obviously, giving up is not an option if you want to develop your mental strength. How do you deal with it then? We have 2 tips in store. First, get rid of unhealthy beliefs about success and failure. In the face of resistance, it's easy to make excuses that you're just not talented enough. Well, not true. Science has it that regular practice will trump natural talent. If you just put in enough hours, you'll most likely overtake anyone who doesn't. Same goes for IQ. IQ is a rather lousy predictor of success. Yes, being smart might give you a head start, but perseverance has shown to be way more important when it comes to long-term achievement. Second, self-compassion can be key when you have to face challenging times. More often than not, you are your harshest critic. But being too hard on yourself can result in resignation, falsely believing that you're just not good enough. Instead, try being as compassionate with yourself as you might be with a friend. Nobody is perfect, yourself included. Be kind towards your own weaknesses. That will help you develop a realistic view of what's possible or not. Mentally strong people are comfortable being alone and use meditation to become more resilient. Okay. Now back to Morin's counseling office. This time we're sitting with Vanessa, who has a very particular problem. Despite being exhausted from busy workdays, she had a hard time falling asleep. It feels like she can't turn off her mind. Her thoughts are racing hour after hour, pondering situations of the day or worrying about tasks to come. During the day, she was working as quite the successful real estate agent, always on the go, always on. Morin asked her how often she just sat down just by herself, doing nothing and giving her thoughts some space, to which she replied, "Never. Why would I?" Being alone and winding down is not something that ranks high on most people's priority list. Some find it unproductive, others outright scary. They're uncomfortable with silence and solitude. They pack their calendar with social events, and when they're actually by themselves, they're on their phone or let the TV fill their apartments with background noises. But as mentally strong people know, they're missing out on something. Of course, too much alone time can be detrimental, especially if it comes with the feeling of loneliness. But studies show that solitary skills correlate with increased mental well-being, life satisfaction, and better stress management. Maybe, most importantly, being by yourself helps to recharge your batteries. So how do you get more comfortable with yourself and your thoughts? It's easy to regard alone time as unimportant and disposable. So to really make time for yourself, you should schedule a date with just yourself. Put it into your calendar and tell family and friends you won't be able to see them during this time. Once you've carved out your alone time, find something that you enjoy doing by yourself. Be aware, though, TV, social media and scrolling through YouTube for cat videos doesn't count here. Instead, give your thoughts and desire to self reflect the room it deserves. You can take up journaling, for example. Also, meditation and mindfulness are the best known methods to quiet your mind and find a sense of peace. And by the way, that's what Vanessa did, too. She made it a habit to make some time for meditation and mindfulness practices in the evening. Her racing thoughts slowed down considerably, and before she knew it, she was lying in bed, sleeping like a baby. Many people have an entitlement mentality, but strong people concentrate on giving rather than taking. Lucas was by no means popular among his co-workers. Even though he was fresh out of college and just starting out, he behaved like a know-it-all. He constantly told his more experienced co-workers how he would do it. He thought of himself as an extremely valuable employee who deserved a promotion into a leadership position. But instead of promoting him, Lucas's boss told him to tone it down. His co-workers were annoyed by his bossy behavior. They felt like he's acting a bit, well, entitled. Even though that sounds far from relatable, we all have a little bit of Lucas inside us. To some degree, we're all inclined to believe that the world owes us something. Here's the problem. The more you think you are deserving something, the less likely it will become that you will actually earn it. If you think that the world owes you, you'll just demand it instead of putting in the effort. On top of that, unrealistic expectations about what you should get is a real turn-off for the people around you. If we sense that someone is mostly taking and never giving, well, that will make us avoid this person. So how do you get over your sense of entitlement? Most importantly, you should become aware of it. Feeling that the world owes you doesn't mean you're walking through life like a princess. Most of us show more subtle forms of entitlement. It's mostly hidden in your thought patterns. If you believe there's something exceptional about you, if you think a law doesn't apply to you because it's stupid, or if you simply think, life isn't fair, I deserve better than this, then these are signs of an entitled attitude. So instead, let's try some humility for a change. For starters, let's acknowledge that you have weaknesses, too. Yes, I know, hard to grasp, but for real, you are not perfect. Like everybody else, you have shortcomings, insecurities and traits that make you less of a Prince Charming, and by the way, that's perfectly fine. Also, let's receive critical feedback with some more humbleness, shall we? Since we're not perfect, the other person probably has a point. We might not agree entirely, but dismissing this person as stupid isn't helpful, either. After all, that's what Lucas managed to do as well. He realized what kind of unfavorable impression he left with his co-workers and made a pledge to change. He stopped assuming that he knew everything better and grew open to learn more from those around him. And who knows, with this attitude he might earn the promotion after all. Mentally strong people recognize that achievements take time and that progress isn't always immediately apparent. If there's one weakness that Marcy had, it was her notorious impatience. When her kids or co-workers wouldn't comply with her pace, she'd say, "I'm not getting any younger." She'd read dozens of self-help books, but was disappointed when they didn't magically change her life overnight. She abandoned therapy just after a few sessions because she didn't see the immediate results that she wanted. What she was desperately looking for was a shortcut, a magic pill that would eliminate her dissatisfaction with life. Unfortunately, as mentally strong people know, This pill doesn't exist. In a world of 24-hour delivery, on-demand streaming and fast food, most people are used to getting what they want as quickly as possible. But if instant gratification becomes an overall expectation, you're gonna have some problems in your life. The hard truth is, change is hard and progress is not always immediately apparent. The question is how you handle this. If you're like Marcy, you might get discouraged easily and abandon your efforts prematurely. This means you'll never reap those special benefits that only come with a long-term commitment. Some things, like an education, an important career step or an artistic breakthrough, only come after years of hard, unrewarding work and perseverance. The first step of embracing the long haul is to create realistic expectations. If you expect quick and painless success, you're setting yourself up for disappointment and frustration. Also, beware of fixed and unshakable deadlines for your goals. While it's good to have an approximate idea of when you would like to finish, making it an all-or-nothing situation can certainly backfire. And then, practice perseverance. Try to abstain from instant gratification more often. Say no to the cookie or the impulse online shopping. But no matter how self-disciplined you are, you will also need some moments of accomplishment. So try to create them yourself. Try to break down your big goal into smaller short-term objectives, and once you've reached them, celebrate. If you accomplish milestone after milestone, it's going to energize you for the overall journey.